The first stop on our senior graduation trip was where I broke up with Chloe, the girl I had known my entire life. The reason was simple. She wanted to share a hotel room with another guy. When I told her how I felt, Chloe didn't try to comfort me or understand. She just gave me a confident little smirk and said, "Fine, just don't regret it." She was so certain that I couldn't function without her. She went on to travel with Leo, a student from a poor background, across 3 different countries. The only time she called me was on the day college applications were due. "We can fight, but don't you forget to apply to the same school as me, Alex," she'd said, her voice full of the old certainty. "I'm Chloe. I'm here for you this lifetime. Got it?" What she didn't know was that I had already given up on our plan to attend F University together. I had applied to G University instead. From that moment forward, my world no longer needed to revolve around her. I had spent months meticulously planning this trip, a journey to explore the world with Chloe after our final exams. But on the day we were supposed to leave, our duo had unexpectedly become a trio. We flew from our home in H City and landed in Georgia. It was only when we arrived at the hotel that I discovered Leo couldn't afford a room of his own, and had arranged with Chloe to share hers. I immediately disagreed, which prompted a sarcastic comment from Leo. "Alex, a guy like you who's never had to worry about money probably doesn't get how humbling it is for someone like me to save every penny," he said, his voice laced with a strange mix of self-pity and accusation. "Just the round-trip ticket cost me 3 years of savings from my summer jobs. Since Chloe booked a room with 2 beds, it's a waste not to use the extra one. Don't worry, we're just sharing the room, not a bed. I'm sorry to be a bother. Could you please just help me out?" His eyes grew red and his voice trembled, and he swayed slightly as if he were about to collapse from the sheer weight of his misfortune. I didn't see humility in his performance. I only saw a complete lack of boundaries. I refused to give in. "No," I said firmly, looking directly at Chloe. "If we are still a couple, you cannot share a room with another man. Even with 2 separate beds, I can't accept it." Chloe tried to reason with me, her tone soft and placating. "Come on, Alex, he's broke. What do you want him to do, sleep on the street?" I didn't understand her logic and asked bluntly, "If he can't afford it, why did he insist on coming on an overseas trip in the first place? Did his family win the lottery after he graduated?" At this, Leo's eyes became even redder. He looked down at the floor, fighting to control his emotions. "I'm sorry," he mumbled. "It's my fault my family is poor. I guess poor people aren't worthy of seeing the world. We should just stick to working summer jobs. This is all my fault. You 2 are arguing because of me." He suddenly covered his face with his hands and let out a choked sob. The people around us in the lobby started to stare, and I could feel their judgment, as if I were some rich bully tormenting the less fortunate. I was already feeling a deep sense of injustice, and then Chloe pulled me aside, her voice a harsh whisper. "That's enough. Why are you being so aggressive all of a sudden? It's not his fault he's poor. It's not a big deal. Just let him stay with me for tonight." My girlfriend was going to share a room with another guy on our trip, and she thought it wasn't a big deal? I had spent over a month planning every detail, dreaming of how perfect it would be. Just the 2 of us. We were supposed to see the snow-capped mountains, walk through wildflower fields, stroll along the sea, and visit historic European squares. The night before we left, I had been so thrilled I could barely sleep. And now, this was the reality. In that moment, the entire graduation trip felt meaningless. "Chloe," I said, my voice flat, "let's break up." She stared at me, her eyes wide. "What did you say?" "Break up," I repeated, feeling a strange resolve harden within me. I wasn't going to compromise on this. "In the future, whether you're taking care of a poor student or sharing rooms while you travel the world, it will have nothing to do with me." I grabbed my suitcase and started walking toward the hotel exit. All I wanted was to get away from the people who were making me feel so awful. Chloe finally seemed to sense I was serious and panicked, grabbing my wrist. But even then, she smiled, a teasing, confident expression on her face. "You know you can't live without me," she said lightly. "Why do you keep threatening to break up with me? What's the point?" Her casual smile felt like a slap. I pulled my arm away from her grip, fighting back the lump in my throat as my heart felt like it was fracturing. "I'm serious, Chloe. This isn't a threat. If you share a room with him, we are done. There's no negotiation." I took the strongest stance I could, hoping she would finally understand the gravity of the situation. But Chloe still seemed to think I was just being difficult. "Fine," she said with a shrug. "Don't regret it." From behind me, I heard Leo's voice, suppressed yet dripping with pathos. "I envy Alex. He can argue with you like this. We poor people don't even dare to argue. I guess this is what it means to be favored and have no fear, but are you really not going to go after him? What if he really breaks up with you?" I heard Chloe's confident voice reply, "He won't. We've known each other since we were 3. We're childhood sweethearts, destined to be together forever. We even decided to apply to the same university." She was openly flaunting the depth of our connection right in front of him. If this had happened before, I would have immediately started to second-guess myself, wondering if I was being too petty. But I was finished with overthinking. I walked out of that hotel, went straight to the airport, and booked the earliest flight home. My mom saw the flight information and called me immediately. "Alex? Weren't you supposed to be in Georgia with Chloe? Why did you buy a ticket back home?" I had already checked my luggage and was sitting alone at the gate. "Mom," I said quietly, "Chloe and I broke up." My mom just laughed. "Again? How many times is this now? I thought Georgia was supposed to be beautiful, with mountains, glaciers, and castles." I had planned this trip for a month, looking forward to it every single day. I wanted to take pictures with Chloe at every beautiful spot, capturing our youth together. Wouldn't it be a shame to miss all that? It seemed that not even my own mother believed I would actually break up with Chloe. No wonder she acted so fearlessly, completely unafraid that I would leave. But this time I was serious. Chloe and I had grown up together. From kindergarten until the day we graduated high school, she would wait for me every morning, rain or shine, holding my favorite brand of milk. She never explicitly said she bought it for me. She would just ruffle my hair as I took it from her and say, "Drink up, don't be slow." I remember one scorching summer during 7th grade, when our classroom felt like an oven. I casually mentioned that I was craving some ice cream. Without a word, Chloe jumped over the school wall and returned a few minutes later, sweating profusely. She handed me a slightly melted mango ice cream and said, "Eat this. It's from that place you like, the one that uses real mangoes." Even the most popular boy in our school asked her, "Chloe, can you get one for me too?" She just glanced at him, gave a lazy smile, and said, "I don't know you like that. I only get these for my Alex." She called me her Alex, and for the longest time, I believed we would be together forever. During the stressful final years of high school, we would often sneak up to the rooftop to watch the stars. I would ask her anxiously, "Chloe, will we really stay together? I hear people grow apart in college." She would laugh, as if I had asked the most ridiculous question in the world, pointing to the 2 brightest stars in the sky as she wrapped her arm around my shoulders. "See those 2? They've been hanging out together since they first started shining. Even if the Earth explodes, we'll just blast off to the edge of the universe together." Her voice was always so bold and calm. "Alex, you have to understand. I'm Chloe and I exist for you." But then, she suddenly stopped reassuring me, all because of a new transfer student with a sob story. I would get upset and throw fits, but she would just laugh it off. "You're mad again? For the 100th time? I don't even like him, I just feel sorry for him. Why are you so jealous? Come on, don't be like this." I wanted to tell her, "Fine, from now on, I won't make a fuss anymore." The past was beautiful, but it was just the past. If staying with her meant constantly losing parts of myself, I would rather let go. I spoke to my mom again, my voice serious. Mom, I'm not kidding. I'm breaking up with Chloe. You always told me that I have to love myself first. She paused, stunned into silence for a moment. Then, come home, she said finally. You still have to submit your college applications soon. I said, okay, I was going to apply to F University with Chloe, but now I've changed my mind. Mom, I want to apply to G University. My mom was surprised. You're not going to the same school as Chloe anymore? She's applying to F University and G is so far away. What if you regret this? I shook my head firmly. If not even you believe that I'm serious about this breakup, then maybe some physical distance will help me move on. Everyone says that time and distance can make feelings fade, right? I admit I can't just forget Chloe right now, but maybe the distance will help me make a clean break. I spent 2 hours waiting at the airport before finally boarding the plane. After a long layover and a full day of travel, I arrived back in my home city. As soon as I switched my phone off airplane mode, I saw that Leo had spammed my social media feed with updates. The first one read, "First meal after landing. Thanks to Chloe for knowing I didn't have enough cash. She shared her main course with me. A warm stomach makes for a warm heart." Attached was a picture of Leo with a shy smile on his face. That restaurant was a place I had spent hours researching and had specifically recommended to Chloe. Now she was taking him there? I didn't want to cry, but my eyes welled up. Morbid curiosity made me scroll to the next post. The snow-capped mountains are breathtaking. A huge thank you to Chloe for patiently taking my photos, even after I made her retake them so many times. Her skills are amazing. That mountain was where I had dreamed of taking photos with Chloe. It looked like she was now his personal photographer. Then, my phone rang. It was Chloe. "Alex, you finally turned your phone on. Why did you just sneak off and go home? We planned this trip for months, and now it's just me and Leo here." So she was fully aware that she and Leo were there alone together? How could she possibly think sharing a room was appropriate then? She continued to complain. "I was planning to give him my room and sneak into yours for a surprise in the middle of the night. Now look what you've done." If I hadn't seen Leo's posts, her words might have made me regret my decision. So this was her plan all along. I could do without that kind of surprise. "Aren't you two having a great time?" I asked coolly. Chloe replied nonchalantly, "There you go again, I don't like him. But since he's here, I might as well show him around. Besides, he saved up for 3 years just to afford the tickets." That evening, I received a message from Leo. "Alex, are you awake? I'm so sorry. I wanted Chloe to go back to you, but I caught a cold on the mountain and now I have a fever. My throat hurts too much to talk. Chloe is feeding me ginger tea right now. As soon as I feel better, I'll convince her to return. I'm sorry. It's my fault for being such a burden." Immediately after the message, a photo appeared. In the dim light of a hotel room, Chloe was holding a bowl in one hand and a spoon in the other, leaning towards someone out of frame. I knew Leo was deliberately trying to provoke me. In the past, I would have taken the bait and immediately called Chloe to confront her, but now I just saw it as a pointless game. That night, my dad called me. "I heard from your mother that you want to apply to G University. Does Chloe know?" I shook my head, a wave of sadness washing over me. "There's no need to tell her." "But you two have been together for so long," he said gently. "Can you really handle being apart?" "Even if I don't want to, I have to," I replied, my voice stronger than I felt. "I can't keep getting drained emotionally. Dad, G University has better international programs, plus Uncle Simon teaches there. If I go, I can use his network and resources. It'll be better for my future." Between a toxic love and a better future, I was choosing the latter. My dad seemed surprised, probably realizing for the first time how rational I could be. All right then, he said. Go for G University. I support your decision. If Chloe tries to come back and fix things, tell her to apply to G University with you. My dad overestimated her. Chloe didn't try to win me back. After Leo supposedly recovered, she traveled with him to 3 different countries. It wasn't until the final deadline for college applications that she called to remind me. No matter what issues we have, don't forget to apply to the same school as me. Leo and I will be back in 2 days. Miss me? I said. I don't, and I won't in the future either. Chloe just chuckled. You're all talk. She didn't realize it wasn't just talk. I had already submitted my application to G University. We wouldn't be going to the same college, even though I still tossed and turned at night, dreaming of her. I knew that once the semester started, the distance would help me get over her for good. I hung up the phone and immediately blocked her number. My mom arranged a new trip for me. She said there were other things to do after graduation besides just seeing the world, like getting a private pilot's license. The day Chloe and Leo flew back home, I was sitting in first class on a flight to Australia. My mom had enrolled me in a flight school in New Zealand for a 2-month intensive course. The schedule was packed. Besides basic flying skills, we studied meteorology, aviation law, aerodynamics, and navigation. I was like a sponge, soaking up all this new knowledge with intense focus. My classmates were from all over the world. Some were there for career aspirations, others were just challenging themselves. Our conversations revolved around flying, the weather, and our next training destination. The atmosphere was simple and pure, and no one made me feel guilty for not having to worry about money. By the end of the summer, I had earned my pilot's license. I boarded the plane back home, not expecting anyone to be there. But when I walked out of arrivals, Chloe was waiting. She tried to take my suitcase, but I held on to it. She laughed, a sound that used to make my heart flutter. Are you still mad? It's been 2 months and you're still hung up on that little issue. I was just helping a student in need. Don't you love doing charity work too? She still thought it was a minor thing, but it didn't matter anymore. Chloe, we broke up. Besides, charity is voluntary, not something you're guilt-tripped into. And it shouldn't be driven by a label of poverty. Why do we always argue over someone who doesn't even matter? She sighed. Anyway, aren't you coming with me to our first day of school in 3 days? Nope, I said. I was going to GI University, and she was going to F University. There was no way we would be enrolling together. But Chloe didn't know that, and I didn't feel the need to tell her. She ruffled my hair, a familiar, patronizing gesture. You're always arguing with me. Fine, since you're my little Alex, I'll let it slide. She forcefully took my suitcase from me, put her arm around my shoulders, and began casually planning our future. My dad bought a villa near F University. If you don't like living in the dorms, we can live off campus together. Feeling better now? She thought this grand gesture would fix everything. She drove me home, making sure to boast as I got out of the car. I have to visit my grandmother for the next 2 days. You be good, and I'll come pick you up in 3 days. We'll go to school together. This time, Leo wanted to ride with us, but I said no, just for you. She then grabbed my phone, unblocked her own number, and tapped my forehead. Don't block me again, you hear? My parents came out to greet me. They saw Chloe driving away, humming happily, and assumed she had managed to smooth things over. You didn't tell her you applied to G University? My mom asked. I shook my head. You didn't either, right? My parents had kept my application secret as well. I spent the next 2 days at home resting, and I felt a sense of peace I hadn't experienced in years. The anxiety, the unease, and the uncertainty all seemed to have faded with time. The day before school started, my parents flew with me to G City. My Uncle Simon picked us up from the airport. When he heard that I had spent the summer getting a pilot's license, his eyes lit up. Awesome! You've really grown up, Alex. You're finally no longer obsessed with that childhood friend of yours. That's great. Young people should learn more useful skills while they have the energy. And you did so well on your exams to get into G University's finance program. I'm surprised and very proud. I felt proud of myself, too. The heartbreak, jealousy, and self-doubt hadn't defeated me. Instead, they had served as a wake-up call, forcing me to look up from the path I had been blindly following. I was no longer just staring at the lighthouse named Chloe. I was finally examining the ground beneath my own feet. Of course, the bad feelings hadn't vanished completely. I remembered my entire senior year, being repeatedly blamed by Chloe because of Leo. "You're so petty. Can't you just be reasonable? He comes from a poor background. Have some sympathy." That feeling of being dismissed and misunderstood was deeply disappointing and unfair. It felt like a heavy sandbag had been placed on my chest, with more weight being added little by little over time. I remembered the exact moment the shift between Chloe and me began. It was the second morning after Leo had transferred to our class. As usual, at 6:15 a.m., Chloe should have been at my doorstep with the milk I liked, ready to walk to school with me. It had been our unbroken ritual for 15 years. I had grown accustomed to seeing her waiting for me in the early morning light. But that day, she wasn't there. I went to school alone, and only saw her and Leo show up late, after the first 2 lessons had already started. Her hands were empty. "Where's my milk?" I asked. Chloe scratched her head. "Oh, I gave it to Leo." Then she laughed it off. "He's new and doesn't know the way. He lives pretty far out and was worried he'd be late, so he asked me to walk with him. On the way, he mentioned that he's eaten plain buns and water for breakfast his whole life, and has almost forgotten what milk tastes like. I felt sorry for him, so I gave him your bottle." "It's no big deal, Alex. Don't be so stingy. I'll bring you 2 tomorrow." She habitually tried to ruffle my hair, treating it like a minor incident. Honestly, it was just a bottle of milk. It wasn't a big deal to me, but I wasn't prepared for what happened next. Leo suddenly teared up. "It's all my fault," he said to me, his voice cracking. "I shouldn't have taken it. You probably grew up with everything you wanted and have never experienced a morning with a cold, hard bun, where even a sip of warm milk is a luxury. You don't know what that's like. I'm sorry. I won't take your things ever again, I promise." I was completely dumbfounded, taken aback by his sudden dramatic performance. His tears and his words were perfectly timed. Our classmates started whispering. "Is it really that big of a deal? It's just milk." Poor Leo. I heard his family is really struggling. Ugh, the spoiled rich kid, always making a fuss over nothing. Chloe heard the whispers too and pulled me aside, trying to de-escalate. "Come on, it's not a big deal. Let's not make a scene." But I hadn't said a single word. That was the first time Leo had wielded his poverty like a weapon, painting me as an unreasonable, spoiled child. In truth, many small disappointments accumulate over time. The later arguments were just escalations of that initial scene. Looking back now, my restraint and my repeated self-doubt, am I really being petty? Were just the prelude to our eventual, complete break. Chloe probably never truly understood. When trust and favoritism are continuously chipped away, the final collapse is absolute. On the morning of enrollment, she called me excitedly. "My Alex, open the door. I'm back from my grandma's and I brought your favorite pastries. Are you not home? I've been ringing the bell, but no one is answering. Are you still sleeping? Wake up, sleepyhead. Today we go to F University. If you don't get up, I'm driving there without you." She had no idea that I was already on my way from the airport in another city, sitting in my uncle's car, heading to a new school. Not F University, but G University. I told her, "Chloe, don't wait for me. Just drive there yourself. I wish you the best at F University." She chuckled on the other end of the line. "You're such a grump. Are you awake? I'm downstairs waiting. I promise it's just us this time." Even though Leo got into F University too, I was firm. He sent me a bunch of messages, but I didn't let him ride with us. Is that sincere enough for you? I leaned my head against the car window, watching the unfamiliar streets of G City pass by. No need. Belated sincerity is worthless. I'm already on my way to school. But it's not to F University. It's to G University, Chloe. G University? Stop joking. We promised we would go to F University together. I know you're just trying to scare me, right? Are you still mad at me? Didn't we make up 3 days ago? I replied calmly. It's true. I don't believe you. Chloe's voice suddenly sounded panicked. I bet you're still in bed. Do you want me to climb through your window and drag you out? I heard some rustling noises through the phone, and then the voice of a security guard. Young lady, what are you doing? That's dangerous. Please come down. There's no one home. They all went to G City. I'm not lying to you. That's trespassing. The chairman himself called to say his son was off to GE University. The whole family went to help him get settled. He asked us to keep an eye on the house. Hey, are you listening to me? Don't cry. What's with that expression? Somebody call her mother. Something's not right. She looks completely lost. I didn't listen to any more. I just hung up. I knew it would take Chloe some time to accept the reality of the situation. But just like breaking away from her, no matter how painful it was, I knew one day she would get through it. I deleted her number from my phone again, this time for good. From that moment on, our past, our love, and all our entanglements had nothing to do with me anymore. Unexpectedly, that night, she bought a plane ticket and rushed to my dormitory at G University. Seeing me walk out of the men's dorm building, she finally seemed to believe what I had been telling her. Her eyes were red and swollen, her voice shattered. Her usual bold confidence had vanished, replaced by a look of utter abandonment and confusion. Why? She asked, her voice rising to a near yell that drew stares from passing students. Is it because of him? Because of Leo? She grabbed my arm. Alex, do you even know what you're doing? We promised each other a lifetime together. The same college, the same city, the same future. How could you? Her voice choked, full of disbelief and devastation. Are you really giving up on me? Do you really not want me anymore? Watching her on the verge of collapsing in front of me stirred something deep inside. 15 years of memories flashed through my mind. The nights on the rooftop, the ice cream smuggled over the school wall, the milk she handed me every single morning. But all those warm memories froze at the image of her in the hotel lobby in Georgia, laughing as she said, Fine, don't regret it. I looked at her, my expression calm, almost cruel. Chloe, I decided I was done with you at that hotel entrance over 2 months ago. I told you very clearly then that we were breaking up. You nodded and agreed. You said, fine, don't regret it. I don't regret anything. So why are you breaking down now? My calmness was the final straw. What do you mean you're done with me? What do you mean breaking down? Those were just angry words, couldn't you tell? I thought you'd be the same as always, that you'd get over it after making a bit of a fuss. How can you just declare our 15-year relationship dead like this? She tried to grab my hand, but I easily sidestepped her. She, who had always been so proud and confident, now looked like an abandoned stray animal. Unsure of what else to do, she pulled out her phone, her hands shaking terribly. I'll delete Leo right now. I'll block him. We'll have nothing to do with each other ever again. I'll never help him again. Look at me, Alex. Just look at me. I didn't want my composure to magnify her distress, so I just shook my head. Go home, Chloe. Don't make a scene here for everyone to laugh at. Laugh. It was as if she had heard the most absurd thing in the world. A bitter smile twisted her lips, and tears finally began to fall. Even my Alex doesn't want me anymore. What do I have left to be afraid of? Her emotions were completely out of control, tears mixing with a pained expression. There was no trace of the confident girl I once knew. She looked like a child, abandoned by the world, lowering her voice to a near beg. Alex, my Alex, please don't do this to me. Did you forget what I told you? I said my life exists for you. I meant it then, and I still mean it now. I planned everything. I had my dad buy a villa right next to F University. I spent the whole summer supervising the renovation, decorating it in the style you love. You once said you wanted a ragdoll cat, but you couldn't have one because of your mom's allergies. I bought one. It's in the villa, waiting to be a surprise for you. All of my future plans have you in them. Only you. My Alex. How can you so suddenly decide you don't need me anymore? Like you're just discarding an old shirt so heartlessly. Did you ever truly love me at all? She practically shouted the last sentence, tears streaming down her face. She stared into my eyes, searching for any sign of hesitation or softening. But she didn't find any. Just like every time I had collapsed and vented my frustrations to her, I now said to her, "Enough, Chloe. Stop being so unreasonable, like a child who can't accept losing." The word unreasonable seemed to wound her deeply. She looked shocked. "You're saying I'm unreasonable? I just don't understand why you're giving me a death sentence over such a small thing." I finally let out a laugh, though it was tinged with the salt of my own falling tears. "A small thing? Have you ever stopped to count how many small things like this there have been? In your eyes, Leo's poverty is a fact, but my grievances are just drama. His needs deserve sympathy, but my boundaries are an overreaction. Where were you when I was breaking down?" "Chloe, let me tell you, this breakup wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was the result of your long-term disregard for my feelings whenever Leo was involved. Now you talk about buying a villa and getting a cat, but where was that energy before? Deleting Leo now, what's the point? To me, it's just a one-sided, sentimental gesture. I don't need it anymore. As for your future plans and your reluctance to let go, those are things you'll have to deal with on your own." After saying everything, I didn't wait for her reaction. I turned and walked away decisively. Even as she yelled hoarsely at my retreating back, "Alex, how can you do this? How can you just let go of 15 years of feelings just like that?" I paused for a moment and turned back to answer her. Just like every time I was on the brink of breaking and told you I was unhappy, sad, and couldn't handle it, and you would just smile and say, "Stop overreacting." I learned to accept your neglect, and now I'm simply giving it back to you. After that, I walked into the dormitory lobby without another glance back, leaving the girl who was once my entire world, along with all her pain, accusations, and shattered fantasies, separated from me by a glass revolving door. My new life had truly begun. I was as busy as a spinning top every day. During the day, I shuttled between classes and the library. At night, I worked late with my classmates in the study hall. A college life without Chloe? I discovered I could not only survive it, but live it fully. I didn't return to my home city once in all 4 years. Chloe, however, flew to G University every single weekend. Even though she was never welcome, facing a closed door every time, she refused to give up. When I went shopping with my roommates, she would follow us, insisting on paying for everything. If I was studying in the library, she would get up at the crack of dawn to reserve a spot for me. On my birthday, she would fly in and stand below my dorm building with a cake, a forlorn figure waiting for someone who would never come down. I refused to see her. She no longer had wild outbursts. She had learned to endure and accept. She always had a lost look in her eyes, yet she tried hard to keep herself together. Every week, she made her presence known in my world, like a craftsman stubbornly trying to repair a shattered piece of glass, doing anything she could think of, no matter how awkward or borderline annoying. She refused to be erased from my life. If a guy, struck by her looks, asked for her number, she would coldly refuse and say loudly, "I have a boyfriend at G University." My roommates, moved by her unwavering sincerity, would often urge me, "4 years, Alex, and she's still at it. Shouldn't you give her another chance?" I would just shake my head. "It's too late. It's not right for us anymore." I decided to go to America for graduate school. I didn't even tell my roommates. I just quietly bought a ticket and left, changing my phone number to finally escape Chloe's persistence. I heard later that she went crazy trying to find me, even kneeling at my Uncle Simon's door, begging him to tell her where I had gone. It was in that moment, I think, that she finally understood. 4 long, awkward years of trying to win me back had been nothing but a delusion. The immense pain and emptiness consumed her, shattering her dreams and leaving her with nothing but chaos. I never thought I would run into Leo in the same study group during my graduate program in the US. It seemed he had put a lot of effort into chasing a better future for himself. That "I'm poor, so I deserve a break" mentality didn't work so well at American universities, though. Once, Leo asked our professor if he could reduce his share of the data-gathering work for a project because he needed to work on weekends to support himself. He wanted the other students to take on more of the basic tasks so he could focus on the analysis, saving him time while still allowing him to earn money. His tone was the same as always, that of a struggling student who deserved sympathy. The room went silent. Our professor refused flatly. "Leo, if you can't balance your responsibilities, I would not recommend continuing in my program. Everyone here is on scholarships and works part-time jobs. That is not an excuse." Leo just stood there, his face turning various shades of red. No one pitied him or spoke up for him. Here, poverty wasn't a privilege. It was a challenge everyone was expected to overcome. Things got worse for him when he tried to apply for international research funding. In his application, he exaggerated his family's poverty and claimed to have been involved in a high-level research project back home. The problem was that the American professors conducted serious background checks. It turned out his involvement in the research was not as significant as he claimed, and his academic results couldn't withstand scrutiny. They even found evidence of fabrication. American universities have zero tolerance for academic dishonesty. Not only was his application rejected, but he was also asked to withdraw from the university. Otherwise, he would face harsher legal consequences. Leo broke down and came to me, crying, "Are you happy now? Are you satisfied?" I just held my books, feeling a sense of settled calm. When his victim status no longer worked, the irony of fate was crystal clear. Karma may be slow, but it never misses its appointment. 2 years later, I finished my studies and returned home to inherit a billion-dollar business. A paparazzo snapped a photo of me leaving the airport, posting it on a high-society gossip blog. The headline read, "The White Moonlight Returns." I didn't care much for gossip and threw myself into the family business. A week later, at the RW Group board meeting, I was officially named the heir, starting a new chapter of my life. A few days after that, at a grand charity gala, I mingled with corporate elites and top scholars. In a quiet corner, Chloe watched me. She didn't approach until she had spent a fortune at the auction, winning a $2 billion piece of art. She came over to me and said, "For my Alex." I just smiled and replied, "I'm not anybody's Alex. I am my own son." The boy who once thought he couldn't live without her had been shattered and reshaped into the leader of the RW Group. My future was much brighter than being someone's Alex. Chloe's mother bypassed her own daughter, came over to shake my hand and said, "I am so proud of you, Alex. Look at you. So accomplished, handsome, and capable. That's a real winner in life. Love stories are nothing compared to being strong on your own. You don't know what my daughter has been through, but she can't force fate. I just wish you happiness." I nodded. "Auntie, I am happy now." With my assistant and a dozen bodyguards, I headed for the airport. I boarded my private jet, a symbol of my new identity, my freedom, and a higher stage in life. In that moment, my inner peace and sense of fulfillment peaked. Even the gossip blogs had changed their tune. The new headline simply read, "The Heir Returns."